Hello, Father Ovito here. Greetings from the land of Jesus. I'm here to explore more about Jerusalem. So please join me, and I have more videos to come. Mabuhay. God bless you, and muchas gracias. Dios les bendiga a todos. Hello, Father Ovito here. We are in the front of that Tzipori. I'll show you this place, and at my back is the pomegranate fruit, one of my favorite fruit here in Israel. So we are in our last stop today. I'll show you this fortress. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Adios. Majority of the ground is made of stone. This is a big stone here. So in front of me is the city of Nazareth. And the ruin of Tzipori. Zippori.
Standing under the sun, but I just wanted to give you, a big idea about the site. All right, like this. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. So you're looking at the archaeological site of Tzipori, but this is not it. This is not only what was found in Tzipori, but the mountain behind you is all full of archaeology. And it's an artificial mountain, actually, that we call it a tell, right? You remember, it's a layer above a layer, because so many layers above each other makes it a mountain. The most ancient thing that was found in Tzipori dates back to the Hellenistic time. Hellenistic, we're talking about 200 years before Jesus. Some of the streets that you see now in front of you had Hellenistic paving, all right, before it, but not so much impressive like the ones that we see now here. Most of what you're gonna see in Tzipori dates back to the time of Jesus, the Second Temple period, but especially Tzipori was very flourished, like it was so much flourished in the 2nd century after the time of Jesus. And over here we're looking at something we call it agora, or the center, the downtown of the city of Tzipori, all right? And because this is where the downtown was, and just behind you was the Acropolis, which is the high area where usually the theater is located, or a shrine would usually be standing over there, the Acropolis. But over here is the Agora, and there's basically, I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but we will be walking there. There's a street going from east to west, all right? I mean here. We're now at the west, and just in front of us is the eastern part. All right. So east to west, and like this, what's like the crossing? It's like a like a cross is north to south, north to south. All right. So the streets is like you have to imagine it like a cross or like a T, like a T letter. All right. It's crossing the city, and at the end of the southern part, which is over there where you see the building, that was a market. That was a market for people who used to come and see the, some mosaics floor. They call it the Nile House after some of the biggest mosaic that was found in the area, talking about the Nile and some other animals that we're gonna see. Right? It's a beautiful, beautiful market. But that was a market. Maybe during Jesus' time when he used to come to here, he used those streets to walk in the city of Tzipori, even though the city itself is not mentioned in the Bible. You know that. But this is what makes the place very convenient, because just in front of you is the city of Nazareth. And during the time of Jesus, Nazareth was a very, very, very small village. Maybe not more than 2,000 people at that time. So there was no, you could say, a place where you can exhibit your stuff that you're doing, or it's not the main village that people would be crossing all the time to, if you are working, a handyman. But since Tzipori was the capital of the Galilee at that time, during Jesus' time, and it wasn't called Tzipori, of course, Jesus didn't know it as Tzipori, he knew it as Dio Caesarea. It was called Dio Caesarea, or the second Caesarea, because you remember, we have, until now, you met at least 3 Caesareas. There's the Caesarea Maritima by the sea, built by King Herod. And there's Caesarea Philippi that we visited yesterday. And over here, it's Dio Caesarea, it's the second Caesarea, all right? Since this place was the biggest among all the other regions, so this is what brought the idea for early Christians and the Crusades, that Jesus every day would come from Nazareth, 1 hour, 2 hours walking here to Tzipori to, open maybe his shop, his carpenter, work with his father, and also selling this stuff for the people, because this is main streets. Those are, this is the downtown. Lots of people will be walking in the street, and they will go into the market to see what they want for their houses. All right. That is the last place that we're gonna visit in Tzipori. You cannot see it very much, but I don't know if you can see. There's a lot of mosaics everywhere. There's so many carvings on the stones as well. All right. So, but that is the downtown. This is where we're gonna end the tour. First, we're gonna go to see the theater, passing by the modern times of Tzipori. All right. And then at the end, we're coming back to here to visit the Nile House and what's left to see in Tzipori. All right. Thank you very much. So we shall see the theater, talk more about the city of Tzipori. Going that way. Marie? Marie?
This is the theater. It's beautiful.
A few weeks later, I'm just fast-forwarding here. A few weeks later.
When I was in Burundi, I bought a lot of cloth like that.
So going to the theater. Look at the cactus. You can see the whole view here in Nazareth. This is the fortress of Zippori.
Yes, fortress of that. So guys, look at this magnificent structure over here. Can anyone guess what is this? This is nothing, a rock, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding, guys. This is a sarcophagus. This is a coffin from the Roman time, a secondary used by the Crusades to build their fortress. All right. So these are the Crusader remains of the fortress, and what's on top is from the Ottoman time, because one sultan, this is like a president nowadays, during the time of the Ottomans, his name is Dahir al-Umar. He's an Arab who was living in Akko, not very far from here, and he was a tax collector. But by time he became a wealthy man because of collecting taxes, and he started building cities. He built 4 cities in the north of the country. One of them is Akko, Der Hanna, Shfar'am, and Tiberias, and all 4 cities are still functioning until today, and his relatives are over there living. But he came to here, he built on top of the Crusader one his palace, all right, and then later used as a school by the British mandate. Okay, but as you can see, the Crusades, when they came to here, they saw all the ruins of the city, and they saw big rocks, and usually Romans would love to build using big rocks to impress the power and everything in the building. So they used the sarcophagus that was here. All right, so this is a secondary use of the sarcophagus of the coffin. So now, if you want, you can go upstairs to have a look out for a few minutes, guys. This is like more or less the same one that you saw from Mount Tabor, all right? Around the Nazareth, some other Israeli settlements in the place.
Still is made of stone. See the whole view here. Zen and Monastery, Kibbutz Hanaton, Iskol, Tel Hanaton, Cafe Manda, Hasmon, Mountain, Hashavi, Kevret, Community Village of Hararit.
Here.
And this is the city of Nazareth. So if you enjoy the Zippori fortress, and see you in the next video. God bless you. Shukran. Bye. Adios. Greetings from the land of Jesus.
In the Jewish history, there was one person who became very famous at that time. His name is Yehuda Hanasi. And as I told you, if you remember in the synagogue, there's three important books for every Jewish: the Torah, the Mishnah, and the Talmud. So the Mishnah is the discussion of the written law. Usually scribes at that time, what happened is, like, after the year of 70, the temple was destroyed in Jerusalem, right? And after a few weeks, all of Jerusalem was destroyed, and then this was the end of the Great Jewish Revolt. But what happened is, like, since the Jewish lost the temple one more time, and they still have synagogues, but they didn't know what to do and where to pray. And especially the most important thing is where to direct the synagogues, because you know every synagogue is directed towards Jerusalem, right? Towards the temple in Jerusalem. But that happened is, like, Jews didn't know what to do now. So there was some scribes. They used to sit and take the written law by Moses, discuss it, explain it, and they came up with a very, big book, lots of discussions of the written law, and they called it Mishnah. But that Mishnah wasn't written in 1 year or 2 years. It was written starting from the year 70. This is the period of the Mishnah, and ends in the year 200, when this person that was living here, as believed by scholars, Yehuda Hanasi, he's the one who compiled the Mishnah. This is where he took all the paragraphs and all the writings of the elder scribes and made them into one book, and he called it Mishnah. But Yehuda Hanasi, as believed by scholars, he was living in this house where you are now for at least 17 years. And the idea came after seeing the mosaic floor. So you can see it's a house, and that person, no matter who was living here, he was very wealthy. He had deep pockets, so he can be able to build, decorate mosaic floor in his house. And if I'm not wrong, it would be like two floors house. So it might be Yehuda Hanasi who was living here, or a local governor who was living in the area of Tzipori. But speaking of that, Yehuda Hanasi, he's not buried over here. He's buried in another national park so close to here. It's called Beit Sha'arim, and it became a World Heritage Site as well. So all Jewish admired this person, Yehuda Hanasi, and they say, this is why Tzipori also became important for the Jewish people after believing that this is the house of Yehuda Hanasi. And but other than that, we know that the Mishnah passed by from here, because the Mishnah, as I told you, it was collected not in 1 year but in several years, and every time it was collected and written a bit of it in a different place. So it started in Jerusalem, then it went to Yavne, a city on the coast. Then from Yavne it went to a city called Usha, which is south from here. Then from Usha to Shfara'am, which is north of here. Then from Shfara'am she came to Tzipori, and then from Tzipori the Mishnah ends in Tiberias. All right. So what you're seeing here, to make the very long story short, is first of all, Dionysus is one of the gods of the Roman times, and you can see it in this depiction over here. But you can also look at a woman, a face of a woman, And this mosaic has a special name. It's called the Mona Lisa of the Galilee. Yes, it has nothing to do with Da Vinci himself, the Mona Lisa of Da Vinci, but they started calling it like that because it has somehow the same smile and the same eyes, of the Mona Lisa. The secret of the Mona Lisa is it can look at you from all different sides. So some people say this depiction is like the same of the Mona Lisa. This is why they called it the Mona Lisa of the Galilee, since we are also in the Galilee. But also some options or assumptions of who is this woman. Actually, we don't know who is this woman. Maybe she might maybe lived here in Tzipori, and maybe she had a very, very beautiful face that she even become the one of the highlights. I mean, not the highlights, but one of the famous people here of Tzipori, and the sculpture decided to remember her by depicting her face. All right, so this is called the Mona Lisa of the Galilee, but nothing more. Furthermore, we know about her, about this of the Galilee. All right, so this is the luxurious villa. All right, take pictures if you want. Anyone would like to add anything? The last thing I want to ask you.